What's going on, workforce? Brian here, and today I'm excited to share some awesome news. First, I just want to say shout out and thank you, Nintendo. Nintendo invited us to go and play Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee editions here in the DFW area today. And so Chris and I and Julie and Mikey, we all got to go check this out. And if you guys aren't aware, we recently just got accepted into the Nintendo Ambassador Program. So this is what allowed them to, I guess, invite us. And so the benefit of this is that we actually got to skip over the line and get our hands on with the game, as well as the Pokeball controller. And I wanted to sit down and give you guys my thoughts about the game we played. We played roughly like 8 to 10 minutes of the game. We got to capture some Pokemon. We got to level up some Pokemon. We got to do some battles with some Pokemon. And we even got to check out the multiplayer version of it, as well as play around, like I said, with the little Pokeball controller. It's, you know, it's, you guys have probably seen images of it, and pretty much I'm going to share you, I'm going to tell you everything we know. We asked a ton of questions, and again, so thanks to Nintendo, thanks to everybody who answered our questions, you know, because we had a lot of them. Because I guess at the root of it, we're trying to figure out who is this game for? Where does Pokemon Go, or excuse me, Pokemon Let's Go fit into the overall mythos, the overall, I guess, environment of Pokemon fans and gamers? And so I looked at this, obviously, and I came at this approach with, like, am I going to play this with my kids? And the answer is absolutely. It was really interesting to see the changes they made. And I think, honestly, I don't think a lot of people are going to like those changes. I think there's going to be a core audience that is just going to sit this game. They're going to pick it up, and they might be disappointed by some of the changes that were made, but we'll get to that here in a second. For me, I thought visually the game was beautiful, and we got to go, like I said, capture some Pokemon using the little ball. You toss it, it catches the Pokemon. There are no random battles, so you're not actually like fighting the Pokemon. It's very similar to the Go series, in which that you're literally just walking around. I didn't see any way to give them candy or things like that. You throw the ball, the better you throw the ball, I guess the greater chances you have of catching the Pokemon. Once you capture them, how you level, you just get a flat rate of experience, and depending on how well you do and how well you toss the ball is the amount of experience that you get. So I was looking at a screen with all 6 of my Pokemon all getting experience because I caught a Pokemon out in the wild, in the grasslands. The other change is that, just like with the Go app, Let's Go, you actually see the Pokemon on the field. And Chris said to me, he didn't really know how to feel about that. But coming from Dragon Quest 11, I actually like the fact that I can see the Pokemon out there, and there are a ton of them out there. It got to the point where I was trying to find another trainer to battle, and I was just trying to dodge Pokemon that were there. Another interesting change is that size apparently matters in this case, and it has different effects on their stats. And so from a sizing game, you can actually see Pokemon who are larger because they're going to have some kind of little red aura around them, and tinier Pokemon are going to have a blue aura around them, which I thought was really fascinating, and kind of how that ended up playing. So we got to do a traditional battle, and it was like a typical Pokemon battle. That's where the battling came in. You issue your commands, you take your turns, and in multiplayer, which you can have drop in multiplayer where a friend can come and play with just one half of your set of Joy-Cons, which for me as a parent, I think this is really critical. Because it kind of is game breaking. I'm assuming that, because all of a sudden it's a 2-on-1 fight, and you get more obviously opportunity to attack and win. And I think they're doing that because they're trying to draw in a brand new audience. So who is this game for? Honestly, I think it's for Brian and people like me with kiddos. I've got a 4-year-old, I've got a 1-year-old, and I've got an 8-week-year-old. Obviously, I think the 1-year-old is not necessarily going to know what's going on, but Maddie, who's 4, likes playing video games with me, and this is perfect for us. This is the perfect game to sit and introduce her to Pokemon, and she's been introduced with, obviously the Cube Pokemon, a turn-based, or not turn-based, but the action kind of RPG that came out that was free this year. She's been introduced that way. We've kind of seen some of the cartoons. This is perfect for her. This is perfect for her age. Skill-wise, I didn't see anything that's going to require a ton of skill. And then together and to time our throws equaled more experience to be able to gather and to be able to level up. Now, some of the critical questions I had about this was it's important for me, from an investment in time as a platform, like you can take some of your Pokemon from the Go app into this game. So they confirm that. You can take, and they did tell us, and again, this is the people who are working the staff event, so I don't know if this is set 100% stone, that the Pokemon that you capture in this, you will be able to carry forward. You can't take things, back in time. So since this is kind of appealing to the game at the red, yellow, blue time frame, obviously your Pokemon that you might have collected right now that might be in the Pokemon Bank can't be brought in here, but eventually it sounds like these are going to be able to be brought forward into other Pokemon games, namely the core RPG that comes out next year. Again, like I said, I thought visually the game looked great. The Pokeball controller was interesting. You press down on the stick as the A button. It's got a little B button kind of area that's kind of highlighted. It felt comfortable, if yet small to hold. And so as far as it goes, though, like I didn't find any problem with it. I wasn't necessarily actually interested in it in and of itself, but then they said you can actually hook this up to your phone. You can actually put a Pokemon in there with you, and you can go take it for walks, and that is also going to give it experience as a part of how it works with just Pokemon Go. And I was like, oh, it actually has more functional use than I was really aware of. And I thought the design was clever, and it controlled great. Like when I was just moving around the screen using the stick, I was able to move, and I felt like I had a good precision amount with it. So I was actually kind of impressed. Walking away from this event, looking at Pokemon Let's Go, before this, I was definitely like on the fence. I was like, well, maybe I'll pick it up. I don't know if it's day one. It shifted into a day one release for me. The Pokemon Ball, I personally, I still start, I'm weighing it in my mind still, but it's definitely leaning more towards like something that I might want to pick up. Namely because with Maddie and having little kids, I honestly could see that thing just disappearing on me, just going somewhere to never be found again. And only like, at some point if we move, like, oh, there's that Pokemon Ball controller thing that we paid money for. Namely because of the shape of it. It's a ball. I could, the kids are going to just like, love it. And it's going to end up in their toy chest somewhere. So that was, I think, fascinating to see and get my hands on with it. We even got a little Pokemon, stress ball for having gone to the event and played, and they were giving those out, which was, I think, really clever in and of itself. I'm gonna check my my notes to make sure I get everything. So we talked to the controller that talked about being able to transfer for Pokemon forward. It felt great. It played great. I think it was beautiful. And again, thanks for Nintendo. And I said, who's it for? Honestly, My concern is that there are going to be people who go into this and they're going to not like the catching and leveling mechanic. As a Pokemon fan, it doesn't still sit right with me. As somebody who's like, man, I really want something with some meat. I want something with some potatoes. But as somebody who's like, I can sit down with my 4-year-old, and as she grows up, and 5, 6, etc., this is a really great way, I think, to also round out my collection. Personally, I don't have really any of my Gen 1 Pokemon, back from when I played Red and Blue on the Game Boy. I have several, but I had Mew. Like, I had a huge collection of these, of the Gen 1 Pokemon back in the day, and have never really been able to go back and get them all and catch them all. And so this, I think, for me, just for the fact that you get experience by catching Pokemon, incentivizes that to where I want to go out and collect and try to catch those and then round out my collection as I go into I guess the Pokemon game for 2019. And that's kind of where I ended up falling on the fence. But it is if you are out there and you got kiddos and you want to introduce them to an RPG, there is the battling. You go and you fight trainers, and we were told that we can also battle each other. So that all seems to be really a part of the game itself. It just seems like the catching mechanic it has taken that step to help bridge the gap and hopefully maybe bring people who are playing the Go series into this. I can say that throwing and this motion feels a lot better than the swiping and this motion, even though like on the I'm using my hand for a phone. I have a little phone right here. Okay, it's like doing this and trying to swipe up and do all these different things. Huge difference. And honestly, I think that this felt real simple. I mean, as an old baseball player and as a pitcher, like I just kind of felt like a good flick of the wrist, and I was nailing it each time. But I don't know if anybody else was out there having any kind of difficulty. Anyway, let me know if you guys got any questions about Pokemon Let's Go, and I'll try to answer those in the comments below. Are you going to pick it up? Are you on the fence? Do you feel that this is kind of a misstep? Like, where is this going to fall in? I'd love to know your thoughts, any and all. So sound off below. Let's have that conversation. I'm excited that, and I think it was really smart that they announced, a core Pokemon game for 2019 at the same time they announced this game, because that allows it to say like, well, this is, something we're doing now. And then if you're really looking forward to that core Pokemon experience, you don't have long to wait. And I think that was really smart marketing. I think that, if you're hungry for a Pokemon game, this is definitely going to, fulfill some of that for you. I just kind of think that the one change I would make with it is that at the same time that this comes out, like I would have bundled it with maybe like a digital version of Switch Red or Blue or whatever, just so that like if this didn't really kind of grab you, you could kind of go play that old classic Game Boy style on your Switch as well, because then it's like, okay, yeah, Red and Blue transfer to Pokemon Let's Go, or some nature of that, some form of that. I think that might have been probably better received by the community, because right now you don't really have this huge collection of retro games, sans the new Nintendo online that they've just released for the NES and nothing else. So it would have been interesting to see if there was something along those lines to fulfill that kind of core gap that is not necessarily going to be filled with Let's Go, but at the same time, it's definitely, as a parent, a day one purchase, like I've said. Anyway, thanks guys for letting me sit here, tell you guys about it. I am really looking forward to talking more about Pokemon and Pokemon Let's Go here in the new future. So without further ado, hope you all have a fantastic day and take care.
Oh, excuse me. What's up, workforce? Chuck here, telling you should totally like, favorite, subscribe, share, dance, raise your hands in the air. I'm off camera. I'm off frame. I'm new at this. Hey, listen. Yes. You haven't hit that subscribe button. You totally should. I recommend it. Chuck approved. Anyway, also, thanks to all the Patreons. You're in the corners. Whoa!